Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft Season 7, The Bee and the Slimes. That's what I'm thinking of this little image right here. Also, noises in your ears, sounds. Why aren't the small slimes making squidgy sounds? I have my game sounds on. You can hear the blocks breaking, you'll hear the swinging of my sword. For some reason, the little slimes don't make sounds anymore. That is rather peculiar. Now, if this place isn't familiar to you, you may have not caught the end of the last episode where I introduced you to this quad slime chunk layout right here, and I have spent hours since caving and lighting up the area best I can in this area, and now I'm starting to get slime spawning. So what I do is I go stand down the end here for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then I walk back in, and usually there's a slime or two. So slowly we're starting to accumulate some slime balls, which I want for future projects. But I've started to realize that my ambitions for this season and what I'm going to build require a lot of infrastructure, and we are really not ready to jump into building just yet. So what I want to do this episode is really leap ahead with the things that we need. So we are back over at this place where we got our ender pearls, and what I want to do is find a villager without a profession. So I'm actually going to go around and remove some of the workstation blocks and then find an unemployed villager to put down a lectern. And I believe an exploit that I showed on my channel quite some time ago still works, where you can essentially place the workstation down over and over again, and that can refresh the villagers' trades. For some reason, the villagers in this area love this hill, and I managed to trap another one that was unemployed, and then I just put this down, and immediately it turned into a librarian. Now, it's also good to see that it immediately turns back again, because that means we don't have to waste a lot of time. I don't want Curse of Vanishing, dude. I am after the mending book. Now, there are 2 trades that can go in that slot that you just saw. One is a bookshelf. Oh, wait, and the first one can be an enchantment as well. Thought the first one was always paper. Anyway, basically, I can just sit here doing this over and over again until we get the trade that we desire. And it might take us a long time, but that trade is, of course, mending. Once we've got a mending book going on, we can put it on all of our armor, and then we're kind of ready to head out to the end dimension. Well, I've replaced this lectern probably over 100 times, and finally we get the mending enchantment coming through. But as you can see, 34 emeralds, so I need to get my paper trade together with the other librarians in the village. Look at that, that's how long I've been over here. Our farm has fully grown. Let's go harvest, let's go get our hands on some emeralds. It's always easier said than done. After a while I realised I needed to do a lot of paper trading, and it would probably be a smart idea to get situated in the area with a trading hall. So I have been moving these villagers around with boats. And I got 5 of them in total. And what we've done here is put a fence post underneath a slab, so there's a gap to look through, but nothing can actually pass through this space. I believe that means that our villagers are safe in this area. And to make things even grindier, because I never traded with the villager up there, it actually refreshed its trade for some reason, even though I didn't move any blocks. So down here we now finally have a librarian that I have traded with, but the price is a little bit cheaper. So that worked out pretty well. And inside of here you can see, or maybe you can't because it's kind of compact, but there is a bed, and above it it's the workstation at the very back. Now I can obviously make this farm bigger, but running around harvesting it and crafting up all the paper, the trade is about 23 for 1 emerald. It's not so great, but there is a trade one of these villagers has I think we need to exploit, and it's this one over here. It hasn't even been knocked down a price yet, which might happen after we start to trade with it. So 6 pumpkins for an emerald. That feels like the way to go. Now all of this here is supposed to just be temporary, but you know, we need to make farms to get things moving along. So I brought some pumpkin seeds over with me and some bone meal, and we're going to get something going in this space over here. Let me tell you something, setting up a pumpkin farm like this, it grows faster than sugarcane does. As I'm populating the stems, pumpkins are popping up everywhere, and look at this, we're going to have plenty of them to get ourselves some mending books. Now I know what your question is. I get it quite often, especially when I open up my inventory. What resource pack am I using? Well, this pop-up is now going to appear in every episode of Hermitcraft. I'm just going to sort of throw it in maybe 5 minutes into the video, So just about every episode, someone will notice something different. Maybe it's the interface color, or perhaps the shield on the screen being lower down than usual. These are all features of vanilla tweaks, and it is a pack picker, meaning that you can go on there, you can select and make your own custom resource pack. Well, this place is becoming a little bit of a farming outpost. I've now set up a cactus farm, and that's because we'll need the cactus dye to use for creating blocks in our build in the future. So now that stuff is just passively creating while I'm in the area, mining the pumpkins, getting the sugarcane, doing the trading. And the good news is we now have 5 mending books, and I feel like 4 was probably the bare minimum. We're going to go to the end. My armor is going to take a beating. I need to beef it up, and I need a way to repair it. And killing shulkers, well, that XP will go towards repairing the armor, right? So that plus something else will now get the mending treatment. I chose wisely, my friends. I put mending on our sword because it means we can just stand here hitting these things over and over again, effectively forever, because the sword gets repaired as well. And now, fully repaired all of my armor, which is fantastic. And I was reading my comments. I always appreciate y'all leaving suggestions and whatnot, because the grindstone is a thing, and so is disenchanting. And I guess when this was introduced to the game, we were already at the end game in Season 6 of Hermitcraft, so I never thought about doing things like this. Just picking out some of these items that I'm realistically never going to use, chucking them in here, disenchanting them, and then getting a tiny bit of XP. But early on, you know, every little bit helps. So my friends, I believe that I am all prepared. We've even got the means to make rockets for when we get our first wings, which I'll be using sparingly. Got my golden apples, and I've been farming some ender pearls, which will hopefully get us out of tricky situations and actually take us over to the area where the end cities are. So I've set up this very basic farm. You've probably seen this sort of thing before, right? But we've got trenches for the endermen to go in, and then you can pop up here and basically have a look at the endermen and lure them over. So this is it. They're going to come to you now, and they're going to fall down into the trenches. And then once they're in here, you just whack them over and over again until you get some ender pearls. Now, how precarious is this? I mean, my heart sunk a little bit when I saw where this portal was. It's like hanging right out over the void. It was pretty scary business to put this staircase into place. Let's try and get past this enderman. Oh, yep, okay, we're good. And yeah, walking over the void like this always makes your palms a little bit sweaty. I don't want to spend a long time here. I just want to get a handful of shulker boxes and get out. So let's head over to the end cities. Right on the edge. Right on the edge. Oh, again, this game. Oh, yep. And there's that cold, delicious void directly below me. Oh, this is never ever fun. Well, the first order of business is to silk touch some chorus flowers so that we can farm them back in the overworld. This is also a food source in the end, but a risky food source because you don't know where it's going to teleport you. Now, I would end a pearl over there, but I've got this horrible feeling I'll catch the lip, and it looks like it might be further out than down there, and then I'll fall into the void. Ah, so it's this once again. This is so uncomfortable when you don't have wings. Okay, this one looks manageable. Yeah, I think... Oh! Always got to be careful when you look upwards in this dimension. Right, that's going to take us across. Yeah, this is why I got a bucket of water on my hotbar in case I accidentally look at an enderman. And seconds later, was right in front of me, our very first end city. Looks like a small one, and I don't see a floating ship, but that's okay. I'm excited to go over there and get our first shulker shells. Now, there's always 2 shulkers at the entrance, so we'll take those out with this, and I might get shot from behind at this rate. Come on. Come on. Okay, the sword will do the rest, and I want to show you the next trick, which is remember to bring a water bucket with you because it counteracts the levitation effect. So now I'm back down on the ground, and we will get double the shulker shells because we have that loot table here on Hermitcraft. There's a lot of people playing on the server, and so loot tables? Shulker shells are kind of rare. Each one will drop 2. I have 5. Have I found another bug? How did I get 5? That's peculiar. Oh, and it's one of these rooms. Let's count the shulkers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when they're all done, then I will count the shells just to make sure. It's definitely 4, right? Okay. And I have got to watch my health. I'm kind of deliberately coming up here so that then I can shoot them down nice and easy from the top. That's my plan anyway. Everything in this room is designed like a staircase. I've noticed I'm also taking these end rods with me. Let's count up the shells. Right, this is odd. I got 9 shulker shells and I only killed 3 of them. Oh, I think I found another bug. You know, as the admin guy, I guess come in here first. I get to squash some of these bugs. How are these in the pack? They weren't in the pack last time around. And now the loot. You know, I'm going to take as much of this back as I can with me because this will be useful for other players early on. We're just a little past this. One thing I will say though is the curse of vanishing. Otherwise that would have been fantastic. So we got onto the bottom of the problem with the shulker shells. Turns out it's actually affected by the looting on my sword. And I think that's just one of those things that's got lost in translation as the pack has been worked on over time. What we wanted on Hermitcraft was them to only ever drop 2 shells, since the shulkers kind of have a top and a bottom. So here we can see I've killed 6 shulkers, and so we should only have 12 shells to begin with. Right, that means we need some happy fun sauce, and we're throwing these ones away. Oh, that's a good sight over here. Look. Oh no, wait, I thought that was the ship floating. No, that's a partially generated one at the moment. Let's go a little bit closer. I've just remembered that I've gotten really excited here. And look at that, a ship. I haven't actually crafted up my shulker boxes yet. Let's do that now before we head over there. And yes, I got so distracted with the shulker shell stuff not working, which is now fixed by the way. I forgot to pick up the loot from the last place, so I'll have to backtrack. But this is amazing. So we got a chest for things we're picking up here in the end. I got my valuables in a chest, and I got my tools in another one. And oh, I absolutely love it. This is going to take the game to the next level now. So this end city has been conquered from top to bottom around all of its different paths, and now we just have the ship left. The question is, do I want to throw an ender pearl? And it looks like it's not over the void, but it might be. I'm going to pillar out a little bit and then ender pearl. Try and ender pearl onto the ladder as well. I think this thing is actually not above the void, although that kind of drop, I do have feather falling, but it could be costly. Here we go, moment of truth. And we're in, we're on the ladder. Woo! Okay, right, let's go get our elytra. I want some wings already. There it is, glorious. Right, you sir need to get out of my way. One thing I want to show you is that this bow kills them with 2 shots, although that one hit the shell because it closed. Bam! Which is pretty good. And I thought I'd be more reliant on my sword, but it takes like 4 or 5 hits with the sword. So because I'm using my bow more, it means I'm steadily going to run out of arrows. I've only got another stack after this. You can see I've been collecting some diamonds. Looks like we've got some emeralds here. And the loot so far has been alright. And before I forget it, there is also the dragon head. I actually already have one of these, don't I? This is the way you should do it. Just go underneath and grab it from below. No risks. And now, my friends, it is time to embark on our first flight of the season. And I'm not actually going to use a rocket. I'm going to save these. But there we go. We have wings. Awesome. And I'm just going to land down here because I don't want to use too much of them, okay? I want to put mending and unbreaking on them first. Now, this right here is when I will use my wings because I don't fancy pillaring all the way across there, do I now? Oh, we are so going to work on getting an unbreaking book when I get back. I love flying in this game. Oh, there we go. Next end city. Oh, it looks like a small one. That's disappointing. And once again, we're going to blatantly fly across this one. Oh, that is so convenient. And I can now go into the end cities from the top if I wish to do so. And then from this point, the footage I was recording unfortunately corrupted. I basically went to one more end city, got another pair of wings and a dragon head, and then found one of those portals out in the Endlands to teleport back home with an ender pearl. So my footage got corrupted, but I ain't going to get upset about it. When these things happen, I say to myself, one day you'll be dead. And then I wonder, is it really worth being upset about? And the answer is usually no. Now, you might find yourself in a similar situation. You're playing Minecraft and a creeper blows up all your items in your hard work and it makes you really frustrated and upset. But what you got to remember is that for 99.9% of humanity's existence, people lived under terrible conditions and survival was a real struggle. We live in an age where there is so much abundance, we get to play computer games every day, and it is pretty ridiculous and nothing to get upset about, if you ask me. So let's get back into what's been happening. I have got back, this is all of the loot that I've collected, 39 diamonds, I'm very happy about that. We've also got a shulker box to put on my head. Nope, I prefer the bee's head. In this one, we've got a few more items over here, and very importantly, this sword, which we are going to combine with our current one, which will give us looting free, and we're going to put that to good use, as I know what exactly it is I want to be doing next. And then in here, even more loot. You can pause the video and scan all of this stuff if you really want to. So I really want to get into building already and start to build my base, and now I'm kind of halfway there. I can go out into the world and gather extraordinary amounts of resources thanks to all these shulker boxes. These are the ones that I have crafted up. And there is one more thing that I need, and that is a beacon. So with a beacon, from killing the wither, we would be able to instant mine a lot more blocks and gather them quickly for building. So that's the direction we want to head in now, and I incorrectly remembered that this guy over here had a netherwart trade, but it was the wrong way around. I thought I could use emeralds to get the netherwarts. Now, Impulse happened to be online, so while I was recording, remember I lost all that footage, I paid him a trip, I showed off my wings, my elytra, and he was kind enough to give me some netherwarts, and he didn't even ask for anything in return, so I chucked him a shulker box. So effectively, all the ones you see right here, +1 is the amount that we have. So we've got some soul sand somewhere in here, because what I've gone and done is effectively moved all of the items that I possess into these shulker boxes from all the little stashes of junk that I had all over the place, and they now fit in my shulker box, aka the backpack. Nope, ender chest, I said shulker box. You know what I mean. So essentially now we have all the items that I've gathered so far in the game accessible just through the ender chest alone, which is a crazy kind of position to be in. So now the brewing game can take place. I want to make some fire resistance potions. And I'm going to need a blaze rod or some blaze powder. And this is my very last one. So that kind of just about managed to work out. And so the fire resistance should keep us safe and sound in the nether if we were to fall into lava. We do have to worry about the wither effect. And by the way, this is sort of becoming like a real farming outpost now. We got netherwarts going over here. And we got the chorus flower plants growing. So I think we're ready to head out of this place now. I can get 2 more mending books. And I will happily take those. So one for our wings and the other one probably for our sword. Oh, and look at this. I've tidied up the shulker boxes a little bit. And this is pretty much everything I have at this point. Those ones there are empty. And then I've tried to sort these out a little bit. Sort of group similar blocks together. We've got a redstone chest as well. That one right there. And yeah, these are pretty much all of my belongings. So we have a goal, and that is to grind out the wither skulls and meet my new friend, Excalibur. I just headed over to my comment section, and literally the latest one was someone saying, hey, you should name it the Excalibur. So I dropped it a love heart as a way of saying thanks. If you ever get a love heart from me in the comments, it's just my way of saying thanks and acknowledging your comments. Anyway, I get a little bit distracted, so I've renamed the sword, and now we're heading over to the Wither Fortress. Correction, I mean Nether Fortress, but here is our first inhabitant to be slayed by Excalibur, and no Wither Skeleton Skull. So now the grind begins. I'm going to spend my time wandering back and forth through this area and seeing what we can get. There is another blaze spawner over here, and the other one's over there. I don't think that's close enough to make a double farm, but it could be possible. Also, I'm going around and placing blocks like this. You'll notice that in those little spots over there. These are what we call the sissy bars. The wither skeletons can't walk through them, but you, the player, can. So it's good to have a few of those around the place in case you get in a hairy situation. Alright, we've got inhabitants number 2 and 3. I'm just making my way back and forth here, trying to get their attention. The server's a little bit on the laggy side now. Lots of players online and people have settled down and built farms. But 1.15 is still performing really well. And did we get anything? Nope, we got another one over here though. So this is a pretty good spot because it's quite out in the open, which means there are less other places for things to spawn, but I'm going to spend my time conditioning the area a little bit. For example, if we remove this platform, it's less places that mobs can spawn, and maybe I'll harvest up some nether brick and we'll expand the platforms for where the wither skeletons can spawn as well. Here's a little clip of me having a heart attack as I almost got shot into the lava down below. And after that, a little while later, got my hands on a wither skeleton skull. Takes a bit of time to get these, but that was our very first one. And then here's a clip of me shooting a ghast that was in the lava. Well, would you look at that? These platforms are built around the bounding boxes of crossroads, which are the parts of the nether fortress where they can actually spawn outside where the nether fortress itself is. We just happen to have a ton of them here. This is a really good configuration, and that means this entire platform is an area where wither skeletons can spawn. And currently we've got 2 here next to this blaze spawner, and I just need 1 more skull now. And what would you know, eventually I got our 3rd and final skull. So my friends, we are on the cusp of a wither fight, and a beacon will really enable us to get the materials and start actually building the base in its full form. I cannot wait for it. I really want to share and reveal what I have planned. And there we go, we got our 3 skulls. And what way do you think I'm going to fight the wither? There are many ways to do it, and I've got an idea that's really quite different and interesting, but maybe not too special. I don't know, we'll have to see in the next episode, because that's where this one is ending. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like as always. Thank you so much for your support. And there was a snapshot video yesterday, by the way. If you didn't catch that, there'll probably be a link on the screen. Go and check it out. It was very interesting. Anyway, that's it from me. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.